Sandra all the time is here with a cold heart through. She's the ears and the eyes for me and you. Every day, everyone want to hear from Sandra. And every time on the air, she's getting better. Tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mama. Call Sandra in the morning and in the evening. They always calling Sandra. And when they start fighting, they calling Sandra.
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth. Welcome to another episode with more truth telling, more problem solving, and of course, more tea spilling than ever before. Sit back, students, grab your tea and turn up the volume because class is now in session. Call in at 936-2626 because your voice matters. Share your opinion on issues that matter the most to you. The University College of the Cayman Islands has announced that the Cayman Islands has been chosen to host the upcoming IACBE Conference for the Caribbean and Latin America, set to take place this week, November the 21st through the 22nd. This premier 2-day event, organized by UCCI and themed AI, the Next Generation, Fusion of Business and Technology, will bring together global experts, business leaders, tech enthusiasts, educators, and students for unique and insightful exploration of artificial integration in the business world. People at all stages of their career are invited to attend and greet and meet some of the best business minds in the Caribbean and beyond. Hosted at UCCI's Sir Vassal Johnson Hall, the conference offers both in-person and virtual attendance options. Attendees will have the opportunity to learn from renowned speakers, engage in panel discussions on critical topics, and expand their network with like-minded professionals who are passionate about the future of AI and technology. Now sit back for a sip and learn segment on this topic. All right, so we're here this afternoon for an amazing interview with some representatives from University College of the Cayman Islands, and also Dr. Godari. We'll see what role he'll be playing in a very, very exciting event that's coming up this week. It's a conference. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Belinda, why don't you start off first by telling us a little bit about what this event is, and then we'll get into all the details of what people can expect and how they can get more details.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. I am Dr. Belinda Blessed Vincent from the University College of the Cayman Islands, and I'm also the director, one of the directors at the International Accreditation Council for Business Education. So within this council, we have 12 regions, and one of the region, which is Region 11, which comprises of the University College of the Cayman Islands, the International College of the Cayman Islands, and other colleges within the Caribbean, Central America, Mexico, and South America. Every year, we hold a regional conference. And this year, we are so happy to say that the University College, joining with the International College of the Cayman Islands, are hosting the event right here in the Cayman Islands.
Wow, fantastic.
Thank you. So the conference theme is AI, the next generation, fusion of business and technology. So I want everyone to get ready to discover insights, to inspire change and participate in stimulating discussions for the future of AI. And when Dr. Mark start talking, he'll tell you about his very interesting and innovative presentation. We'll also tell you some of the plans we have for the 2-day conference. And Dr. Suzanne Palmer, who is my colleague at the UCCI, is also going to talk about the Shark Tank competition, the poster competition, which are all part of this exciting 2-day conference event.
Okay. So let me ask you now, how did you come up with this as your conference topic?
Okay. So in talking at our assembly this year in Memphis, Tennessee, one of the big things that people were talking about was what are some of the cutting technology in business. And at the university, we have been having students playing with AI, whether ethically or, the gray areas. So we said this would be a great way to see how this new technology is infusing, how it's integrating into, business, and then see if we can invite other parties, other experts in the field to, talk about this. So when I got back, I was talking to our president, and our president said, do you know that the chief technology evangelist from CompTIA, Dr. Stanger, is planning to come to Cayman to talk to persons at the Cayman Enterprise City on technology. So it would be a great idea to get him as our keynote speaker on the first day to talk about this topic as well. So the president was saying maybe we should have a technology conference, and we're saying we want to have a business conference. We put them together.
Wow.
And hence the fusion of business and technology.
Yes.
So we sent out, we did a call for papers, to which Dr. Mark decided, he has so many new ideas, things that he has been doing in entrepreneurship that he wants to present to students and the community in Cayman Islands. And then Dr. Suzanne has been working with students, preparing business proposal and pitches to investors. So we said, why don't we give it an AI theme this year and get your students to present business proposals with AI. So that is how it starts, coming together.
Yes.
And we are here today, just a day away.
Yes.
For the conference. And, we just want more and more people in our community to come out and see what is happening on campus. And if they can't come, the conference is hybrid, so they can also come online.
Beautiful. All right, let's hear a little bit then from Dr. Suzanne.
Okay.
She was talking about some of your students. Well, they must be excited about this.
Yes, they're quite excited. In terms of the Shark Tank, it is one of the activities that we try to get the students involved in, where we have them pitching different business ideas. We have had the competition. This would have been the 4th year at UCCI, but this time, because it is so close to when we would normally have our Shark Tank competition, we decided to integrate it into the conference. And we had a runoff on Friday.
Yes.
We had 7 teams, and we have whittled it down to 3, and they're going on to the conference to do their final pitch to the set of sharks, just to prove their business acumen, to prove the feasibility of their business ideas, etc. So we're quite excited about that. And a lot of the ideas that we get, they're not just pie in the sky ideas. These are ideas that can really work in the local economy. And so what we have done while we're doing the Shark Tank, we have partnered with financial institutions like Proven Bank. They are main sponsor of the Shark Tank competition, and we have also partnered with the Cayman Islands Center for Business Development. They provide mentorship support, internships for the students, business counseling. So we think it is a good mix. It's a good marriage, so to speak, and we're quite excited about it because the students, once they have pitched, the winning team, the winning team gets a chance now to see how best they can get this idea out to market? How is it they can start something? So we're giving them a chance to really get their feet wet within entrepreneurship. So we're excited about that.
So this is a real world competition.
It is a real. We try to make it as real. So we watch the Shark Tank videos, we get them involved, but we tell them we want ideas that are practical, that will work in the local environment. So that is really what we emphasize in the competition.
Beautiful.
And ICCI.
Oh yes, and Dr. Gidari was one of the coaches. I'm one of the coaches at UCCI, and Dr. Gidari coaches. He's one of the coaches at ICCI, and so this year for the first time, UCCI, we would normally be doing it every year, but this time because we're partnership, yes, and so we have teams from ICCI as well, and they also participated in the runoff, and we have some of them will be going on to the competition on Thursday. So lovely things are going here as we're getting our young people to take their place in business in the local market.
All right, let's hear from Dr. Gidari. Yes. So
Thank you so much. Yes, it's a very exciting time, in the Cayman Islands. You have two of these premier institutions, UCCI and ICCI, that has really taken on the mantle of business education. And I'm a professor of innovation and entrepreneurship at the University of South Florida. And, I was surprised that entrepreneurship education was a thing years ago. It is a real thing, and this is what is advancing the island and education forward into the future. So this conference, I'd encourage you all to come out and take a look, because we are actually going to be discussing with multiple different speakers and sessions the intersection of business education and AI. This is the future, and you have to engage or you will be left behind. So I'm honored, as I comedically like to say, as an outsider, to get the opportunity to be able to give back and to contribute in this way. So I'm very, very, very humbled and grateful.
Yes. Well, tell us a little bit about what your segment will be focused on.
So in my segment, there's a tool that I've utilized in the classroom called the Entrepreneurial Mindset Profile. So in my classes here at the International College of Cayman Islands and also at the University of South Florida, it's going to be, I'm going to discuss how that tool is relevant. And it really comes from a business theorist called Peter Drucker, who says whatever you don't measure, you can't manage. Mm-hmm. And a lot of consultants that you may have here in the Cayman Islands, they all are, whenever they're working with businesses, doing some sort of measurement of where your business is. So it's the same thing in entrepreneurship education. This tool takes a snapshot of the participant, shows you your strengths and weaknesses, and then at the very end, you're able to provide the participant with some suggestions towards how to improve that. Because the normal idea that we've all come to accustom that I can be an entrepreneur and I don't need any support or education, that is not the way that you want to move forward in the future. The thing you want to do is, where do I stand? Where in these key areas? And then the beautiful thing we have here with artificial intelligence is a tool that can tell you, here are the resources from all over the globe that can help enhance you in those areas that you may be deficient. Yeah, that is it.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So give us some details on the conference. I'm sure already people are listening and they're thinking, wow, this sounds fantastic. Why didn't I hear about this before? So give all
and
the
that
details.
is why we're thanking you so much, Sandra, for bringing it out to the public.
Absolutely.
So on Thursday,
Yes.
we'll be hearing from Dr. James Stanger. He is the Chief Technology Evangelist. And for people who go to the church, and so the evangelist comes with this story, strong message. So he's coming in from CompTIA, and he's going to be talking about how we can integrate cutting technology in business. And he's going to be he's giving that morning keynote address. So guys, if you're coming, try to be at the university by 9:30, because he speaks at 9:45.
Okay, great.
Then we also have some panel discussions, and one of these is on future work and the role of the business school. And this is going to be chaired by our president, Dr. Robertson. But listen who is going to be on the panel. We're going to have Charlie Kirkconnell, right? He's the CEO of Cayman Enterprise City. Woody Foster, Managing Director of Foster's. Elizabeth Gale, she's coming from Westin. And Althea West Myers, who is the past director of the Cayman Islands Center for Business Development. After that, there's lunch and all of that. But during lunch, we'll also have a keynote address. And this is coming from Jennifer Skinner, who is a partner for People and Purpose at Deloitte. Right? And she's going to be talking about how we align business education with industry needs. Later in the evening, now all you females are listening, we're going to be talking about women in technology. And we're going to have Tammy Suleiman as the moderator. We're going to have Vanessa Slowly, who is an ex-global CEO for Digicel. We're going to have Alexandra Forcell, Cyber Security Director for Deloitte. Isabel Gumai, Technology, FinTech and Virtual Assets. And FF Avan, she is from Namayo, and she's an associate at Walkers. In the evening, we'll have breakout sessions. So persons can look at the topics, different sessions. There are going to be 3. There's one that is going to be on digital skills, development strategies. Another one on the importance of digital skills in the workplace of the future. And then there's another one on ethics, data privacy, and other issues with technological innovations. So again, we would love to see you for any of those breakout sessions. Those start in the evening, just as you're about to leave work. Maybe you can take a late lunch hour, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And then if you can't make that, at 4 o'clock, we have the Shark Tank competition. We have 3 teams competing, and they have fantastic and innovative business proposals. So please come and listen to these individuals. On day 2, we start very early. At 8:30, we're having an international presentation from Peregrine Global, and they will be talking about assessment methods and AI and how we can use AI in assessment. Then our morning plenary keynote speaker is someone everybody might know, Cayman Finance CEO Steve McIntosh. And he's coming in and he's going to talk about the rise of Cayman Islands financial industry. And it's a really innovative and creative topic, because his theme is how a small island chain that time forgot became a global financial powerhouse, and what it will take to remain one. I like that last part. What it will take, because that is something that is very topical right now. And then in the evening, in the early morning, later in the morning, we'll talk about artificial intelligence, the way forward, using generative AI in course design, virtual reality as a tool for cultivating leadership skills in business students. And then we'll also have where Dr. Mark is coming in with his entrepreneurship education. We'll have the role of AI transition to culture, creating a continuous quality improvement process. So there should be something for everyone, right? So that is a two-packed days. And we're giving CPE credits. So if persons are coming in, if employers are listening, you can send your employees, they'll get a certificate of attendance that they can use towards their continuing education credits. There is, if they register, and I think we need to talk about registration now. If you're coming online, it is $50. Work that out in Cayman, right? If you're coming in person, it's $125, which is about 100 CI. Right. But if you come with 4 or more persons, it's $100, right? Yes. And you get a goodie bag, you get breakfast, you get lunch, and you get snacks.
Wow.
Yep. And I cannot leave without saying thank you to our many sponsors. So we are being sponsored by Deloitte, Proven Bank, Walkers, Comtia, Peregrine, and Goddard's Catering, who will be providing all the food. Beautiful. Right? So guys, please come out. It's going to be an exciting and innovative event, day to network and to learn.
All right, give us the dates again.
So the dates, November 21 and 22, we start at 9 in the morning on the 21st and 8 on the 22nd.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you guys so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Sandra, you'll be there, of course.
Yes. All right, folks, how on earth can I possibly miss an AI conference? Come on now. Of course, I'm going to be there. I'll be in and out. Some of the keynote speakers sound very, very interesting. So congratulations to UCCI sponsoring this conference. And again, if somebody just messaged me, said, Sandy, can I do it online? Yes, it's a hybrid option. So you definitely have the option of doing it online as well as attending in person. So, you get a little bit extra if you attend in person, hence the associated fee, because they've got you covered, as Miss Dr. Belinda said, with your goodie bag and lunch and breakfast and all sorts of stuff, and some really great keynote speakers. You've got to stay on top of what's happening in the world, folks, and that means technology, that means AI, and all of these additional resources that it's going to be expected at some point in your professional career that you probably start to use some of these elements. So why not? All right. So thank you very much to the folks over at UCCI for that interview. And congrats. So good morning to everyone. So good to see you guys. We are going to be shifting gears now and talking about Mr. Fred McLaughlin. So we do have a guest on the show who I can tell you is going to share his own experiences with Fred. So we're going to bring him in here in just a second. So let me preface the conversation by saying, it's one of those things where things seem to come full circle in Cayman. We've had a conversation about this Fred McLaughlin guy before. So when I heard his name come up yesterday during the show, that yes, Mr. Roy, I can send you the link to join the conference online. Anybody else who wants the link, just WhatsApp me, and I'm happy to share it with you. And you do get continuing education credits as well. So, yes, I was saying that this Fred McLaughlin has actually been featured on CMR before. Now, I'll be honest with you, I can't always recall. This is because there's so many people sometimes that gets featured on this program. I can't recall all of the details because somebody was saying to me yesterday, wasn't it something with his brother and him? And I don't always recall all of those details, but I do know that he had a number of complaints about him in relation to not paying people their money. And so I can't even remember if we were able to eventually get in contact with him directly, if it was just a brother. You guys would have to help me out with those details, to be honest. But one thing I know is that there is a general sense, and now we're going to talk some of the specifics here this morning, that this man refuses to pay staff on a regular basis. And after the program yesterday, as you guys will be aware, I went to the job site and did a live stream. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. But it is so unfortunate that when we have people who breach the labor law, in most instances, it tends to be the same people over and over and over again, right? From a regulatory perspective, I think this makes everybody's job fairly easy because these are the very people who should, under no circumstances, quite frankly, be getting work permits approved. Now, Mr. Fred seems to have a very long and interesting history of being the crook that he is. Okay? There are people who say, yeah, boy, I went to school with Fred, he always been like this. He's always been a very, very shady type of person. Someone said yesterday, he would convince you Hold on, because this was a very, very interesting comment. Let me pull this one up because I want to read it just like how they said it. Basically, let me see if I can find it now. They said that, oh yes, this person said, well, I tell you, he's a good liar. He could convince the devil that the sun was not hot. And you know, not too easy to fool the devil now, you know, because he's the general of all generals, supposed to be. But apparently, Fred has one up on him. So if that gives you any kind of indication of the type of person that Fred is allegedly, and now we're going to talk to people here this morning who have specific experience with Fred, I think it's fair to say that you guys need to pay attention. The authorities need to pay attention to Fred because we're supposed to be living in a first world country. And I want to say this to all of the workers who are on location at this job site. And I want them to know that this isn't supposed to be who we are as a people. I know that Fred is obviously a Caymanian, so this makes, in my opinion, all Caymanians look bad. And I'm ashamed to call him a Caymanian this morning because he is taking people who are vulnerable. And I'm going to talk about some of the things I picked up on yesterday while I was at the location. Fred is taking people who are vulnerable and making their plight in life even worse. You know, I would say 99% of the people on that job site are Jamaican workers. Obviously, they have maybe some degree of skill, but they have come here in order to improve their plight in life, not to make it worse. And people like Fred, when he does, and people like him, when they do this sort of thing, they take advantage of the labor laws and they really, just don't care about paying pension, insurance, guys getting injured on the job. We're going to talk about all of these things. When people like him take advantage of workers, it reflects poorly on us as a country. It reflects poorly on business owners. And quite frankly, it's also reflecting very poorly on the civil service arm of the government and the elected arm of the government. Because the Labor Department needs to start shutting down construction sites like this. Y'all, listen, if I know that Fred is a crook and as crooked as they can walk in a straight line to save his life, that means that the Labor Department would have had a number of complaints about Fred, and they also should be well versed in who this man is and the actual shenanigans that he's up to. So if that is the case, y'all need to please explain to me how this man continues to operate with what seems to be complete immunity, because I'm not really understanding it. So let's put it in context, and then we've got Mr. Kyle Ebanks, who is going to be joining us here this morning. Today is Wednesday. On Monday afternoon, there was an alleged robbery. It has been reported to the police of the job site. Now, this is the Hyatt, what's the name of this project? Hyatt, basically residences, I'm guessing hotel. What a monstrosity to be in that location. I got to tell you the truth. Somebody was saying to me last night, Sandy, the traffic that's going to create, where's the parking? I mean, there's so many questions, but hey, that's planning for you. Only God knows. We'll have to wait once it's built and see how that goes. But listen, this seems to be a thing in the construction industry, right? What they do then is they subcontract everything out to an individual like Fred, and then he is in charge of getting the workers and basically managing the project. I kind of feel like there's something wrong with how, in fact, this is being done. And from an employment and labor perspective, I mean, now the labor law, so this is where the legislative arm of government needs to take some responsibility, that maybe they need to review how this is being abused, how it works, right? Because essentially the contractor, the main contractor for the project, they have no responsibility then for these guys because they've hired Fred, right? And they say to Fred, right, we're going to pay you laborers X amount for masons, for this, for that. And of course, Fred, who is making millions of dollars by all accounts on these projects, turns around and then recruits these guys for a much cheaper hourly rate. But that's not even the problem, because that might just be business 101. Of course, you can't pay them what you're receiving, because then you not make a profit. But it gets even worse than that, because Fred is alleged to be breaking every single. Somebody just said the radio is gone. Oh Lord, hold on one second, folks. Let me get the radio back. Just give me one quick second. I don't know why. Check. Hold on. All right, not sure why it dropped out. Just give me a quick second. We're gonna bring it back online. All right. Okay, folks, we should be back in radio. Please just keep an eye on it for me and let me know if it drops again. I've just messaged the tech guy over at DMS as well. All right, thanks, Nicole and everybody else, Tiffany. So what else Fred does that really makes the situation egregious is that Fred ignores all of the labor laws that govern employment relationships in this country. He is such a character. And trust me, if it was 9:30 in the morning, that would not be the word that I'd be choosing to use to describe him. As Jamaicans would say in the nicest way possible, he's a general. He's a crook. Yeah? He skirts. Let me show y'all a letter. And I have recordings of him during meetings that I'm trying to get one of my guys to work on this morning for me, because I just got it this morning. I need to clip out the profanity. But he's on recording admitting to breaking every single possible labor-related law in this country. And yet this man still has contracts, and no one is going to be held responsible for his actions and his breaches. Something is wrong. This is when you know the system is broken, okay? Have a look at this. Let me show you what he does. Not the sharpest at all. This is his company. And one of the things that he does is he makes his guys, this is dated October the 23rd, Wednesday, this just the other day, not even a month ago. He's having his guys sign a waiver for overtime pay because this crook has not paid people overtime, right, forever. Then when they go and they complain to the labor department, he believes his workaround is having them sign a letter of waiver where they're waiving any right to overtime. Well, Fred, I don't know how brilliant you think you are, but let me advise you that you're not very smart at all, because there's certain basic rights in the labor law itself that you cannot contract out of. You see, he's never paid these guys overtime. So we're going to talk to Kyle. When somebody like Kyle goes and reports him to the labor department, and Kyle says, listen, this guy doesn't pay insurance. He's not paying pension. He's making guys pay for their own work permits. All of these infractions. What happens? Oh, he thinks that he can fix the situation. Yeah. By going and putting together this little document that says, I, so-and-so, I'm going to waive my rights to receive any overtime. Well, that's not how it works. There's only certain categories of individuals who are able to do that. And then those individuals get time in lieu of. So I don't know exactly what Fred thinks it is that he's doing, but he is breaking I don't know what he thinks he's doing, but what he's doing is breaking every imaginable law. I hereby voluntarily waive my right to claim or request any back pay for overtime hours worked up until the present date. Y'all understand what that means? This man is so crooked. You break a law. Let's make sure that I'm very, very clear about what he's attempting to do. You break a law, right? Know that you've broken the law fully and well. And in order to then try to cover your big derriere, you turn around and have people sign an agreement saying that they're going to waive their legal rights. Huh? You see, Fred would not have to create this document and have his workers sign it under oppression, okay? If he was not in breach of this to begin with. The truth of the matter is, on Monday, when he allegedly was robbed of some 300,000, I can't get the exact figure, but over $200,000 in cash is what he claims. We have a few thoughts about that we'll get to this morning as well. Right? He gets robbed, but the truth of the matter is Fred has been robbing his workers forever and a day. From when Jesus had his pacifier in his mouth, Fred has been doing this sort of thing. There are other people. Oh, by the way, I need to find my show phone. There are other people who apparently have worked on other job sites with this man, the Kimpton and other sites, and they're saying, Sandy, this man still owes us money. So my question is this. Why does he continue? Why is he allowed to continue doing what he does? He shouldn't be. And every single organization that hires Fred, y'all need to wake up. How does Fred get these big time multi-million-dollar contracts? The Kimpton, the Hyatt, all these other locations. Y'all need to pay attention. Whoever you are that come to the Cayman Islands, and maybe you don't know who Fred is, but y'all need to start asking some questions. Because while you are trying to skirt your responsibility under these projects, or you're going to just hire Fred and let him be in charge of everything, I'm warning you that Fred is putting all of you under some severe liability. In this letter, he goes on to say, I acknowledge that from this point forward, any hours worked beyond 90 hours in a 2-hour work period will be paid at my regular hourly rate without any additional overtime compensation. I also understand that I maintain the right to refuse to work on Sundays and public holidays. You see, because you got to pay double time. This dude is something special. I confirm that I fully understand the consequences of this decision, and this is made voluntarily, he claims, without any undue pressure or coercion. Really? Please accept this letter as formal confirmation of my decision. Anybody think, and this is the name of his group, his company, the East End Group Limited, number 7 Welcome Way, Seaview Road, General Delivery, East End Post Office. You guys actually think that Fred got sense? I mean, honestly? Okay. I'm going to bring in Kyle. And Kyle, I want you to introduce yourself. Good morning, Kyle. How are you?
Good morning. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir. I can hear and see you just fine.
All right.
We have some almost 700 people, actually over 700, listening to the show this morning, because I think there's a lot of people who can relate to this situation, unfortunately. Construction workers in this country, I'm very, very sad to see that they are on the job, risking sometimes life and limb, and building these projects on the backside of being used by someone like Fred McLaughlin. Now, you have personal experience dealing with Fred, so tell us who you are and what your experiences have been.
Okay, first to start, my name is Kyle Ebanks. I was born in Cayman Islands, but I was raised in the United States for over 28 years. I decided to come back. Recently, my grandfather passed away, so I had to take care of my grandmother. Upon coming over here, I needed a job, especially to open a bank account. I'm sure all of you know how difficult that may be. So I decided to get into construction. I worked under Fred as a general laborer. Now, while I was over there, I began hearing how some of the workers weren't getting compensated for the work that they do, such as being paid time and a half, having their work permits paid, having half their health insurance paid, no pension for extreme amounts of times. So I didn't just tackle the situation right then and there just off of hearsay. I had to see it for myself. So I worked there for a period of time, and I discovered that he would not only do that to the expats, but he would do that to the Caymanians, such as myself. So most people on the job site know about this, but not everyone on the job site is in a position to where they can just complain about it. The reason such is the complaint would put their name out there, and there is promise of retaliation directly from the employer, such as Fred, where if they do complain in any manner, they lose their work permits. And for them, that means losing their spot on the island, losing their opportunity to make a better life for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, this is unfortunate. And Kyle, I think you may be maybe one of the few Caymanians on the job site. However, I'm aware that some of these guys, because they're largely Jamaican, some of them are married to, Caymanians. So, sometimes it's difficult for me when I try to have these conversations, because there are Caymanians who, we can be ignorant people at times, who will say, I don't care what's happening at this job site because it's not me. It's largely not Caymanians. They're Jamaicans, so we don't give a darn. And I think that that's such an unfortunate approach for people to take, because here's the bottom line, as far as I'm concerned, right? Someone who would take advantage of workers, regardless of where they're from or who they are, foreign workers, Caymanian workers, whatever. That's kind of the starting point. So I know that Fred purposely targets, because I'm sure there's some Caymanians that he could hire to do some of the work that's being done at these job sites, but he's purposely targeting the Jamaican workers because he knows that some of them might be in a tricky situation financially, or a little bit more dependent on that job, or desperate to be able to remain here. So the things that they will do in the name of staying in this country is more than probably some Caymanians would do. You walk off the job, you leave the job. It's not that easy when you're here in a work permit. And so someone like Fred, I keep calling him Fred, takes advantage of these individuals, making them pay for their own work permit fees and all these other things, which is extremely illegal, to say the least, right? So it's just shocking that they have, that he has continually been able to get away with this project after project after project. So I'm going to ask you now, tell me about your experience with him. How did you find out did you just show up at the job site? Did somebody tell you, hey, there's a guy named Fred McLaughlin who's looking for workers? How did you come upon this job?
Correct. I was referred to by a family member to work on that job site, and through the relationship with Fred, I was able to get a job with them under him. Upon immediate, all right. So the employee agreement is just one page. I'm not sure if you've seen it. If you haven't,
no, I haven't.
But it's very minimal effort on the employee agreement. It doesn't discuss like overtime or anything like that. It doesn't discuss sick leave, of course. It doesn't discuss a lot of the things. And it's like you said, I think Fred targets specifically people who are in financial situations, who are in a tough spot. So they would be willing to sign something like a waiver that infringes on their rights in the first place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but over there, while working on the job site, we've even ran out of drinkable water on the job site.
Yeah, we just one second. Kyle, would you have a caller in the line? Good morning, caller.
The caller would be me, Roy.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Roy.
Good morning. It's very easy to see the wrong that this guy Fred is doing. But I guarantee you, he knows somebody, or he knows somebody that knows somebody. It's nepotism, and he's probably a very smooth talker and a charmer. And he's probably pretty intelligent.
Wow, I wouldn't go that far, but carry on.
Well, it's not just in the construction industry, the housekeeping industry. I know personally firsthand of cleaning companies that hire people. They don't necessarily have the work for them, but they make them pay for their own work permit. They don't actually work, but they make them pay for their own work permit and then some, just to be here. And it's taking advantage of the weak and taking advantage of the weak. We have in the United States. I'm a Caymanian, but obviously you can tell from the way I talk that I lived in the United States most of my life. We have something called an H-1 visa. It is the first step to getting a green card, which is permanent residence in the United States. Most of the people, the white collar workers, are almost all from India, and the laborers are usually from Mexico or someplace else in Central America. But the United States is so heavily regulated. I mean, that's the only thing I can see that could end this kind of abuse and taking advantage of and preying on, and especially the Jamaicans, as you pointed out. I live like in a cul-de-sac. There are a whole bunch of houses, all owned by one family member or another, except for one two-story house, which is all rooms. 99.9% of everybody that lives in that house, which is owned by my cousin, is Jamaican. And they're almost all men. 90% of them do construction. And I hear some of the horror stories that they have to go through with regards to a work permit. It's really, really sad. I don't care what country you're from. Thank you so much
for the call, sir. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, my dear. Yeah, so you were saying, Kyle, that you heard about this, were referred to Fred. You go there and you start working. What were you doing on the job site? What was your position?
I was a general laborer, so I was really wherever they needed me.
Okay.
However, all right, so when I was hearing these things, and you hear how long Fred's been in business, over 25 years, you start to question, like, how is he able to get away with such practices for a long period of time? So obviously he had to had an audit or two by now. And that would tell me certain things. It would tell me that the system wasn't strong enough. We're dealing with someone that knows the system.
Yes.
But he was dealing with someone for the first time who is both willing to speak up and knows the law. Try to question me on certain things that he didn't know I knew, because I read it. Hey, man, the 2021 revision of the Labor Act is the latest copy of the Labor Act. I suggest every one of you who are working or are a worker to just review it, read it, know your rights, because that's what's really going to protect you. So, I could see that there is multiple things that they were not doing right. So, so I began documenting everything. I began making all my requests via email. So so that everything is now being captured, at least on my end, because I know it wasn't on their end.
I mean, it's shocking, and you were mentioning before that caller that he at the job site there were days when you guys don't even have water. I don't even understand that, because I don't have to tell you how hot it gets out there, Kyle. I'm sure you well know. We've had shows on this program where the government, is warning people, please be careful if you work in the sun, if you're a laborer, because, people are passing out. I think it was last year, we actually had a guy at a job site, it might've been one of Fred's, only God knows, there in East End. He passes out and literally had a heart attack at a job site.
It's ironic that you said that. That first time that we ran out of water on the job site, that very week, someone passed out from heat exhaustion.
Yeah, I mean, you're working in the sun, you've got gear on that makes you even hotter. And if you're not properly hydrated, I would not be surprised that type of thing is happening. So some real labor issues, safety issues. Cayman has requirements under OSHA in terms of safety on the job site. And I'm shocked that Fred has been able to continue taking advantage of people in this particular way. So how long then did you work for Fred before you kind of said enough is enough?
Oh, before I said enough is enough, it was about a month or two, in a month and a few weeks at most, before I was like, I have to start doing the right thing, start taking action, start moving in a way that can help everyone. And I realized that it wasn't going to be for them to go to the labor board, because of what I said. If they do that, the labor board tells you, we won't do anything until you signed written consent. And then once you do something, once you sign that written consent, we will give your name to your employer and we will ask for their side of the story. And then we will come back and then try to go about it that way. And it's very interesting that it's set up that way. And maybe this is how someone like Fred gets away with it, is because they won't act, and no matter on how much records you provide, how much the volume of people calling or going, they won't do anything until the written consent, and the written consent exposes the employee, puts them out there in a way where I have it documented, where Fred literally tells you, if you're going to pursue your rights, I'm going to fire you. I'm going to lay you off. I'm going to write you up. For an expat, that would be something immediate. Like for me as a Caymanian, I have to be written up, but for an expat, they can just go.
Wow.
In their eyes. So let me explain how low they see their employees. One of the employees got injured on the site. Ambulance came. They left next day. We had a meeting about it, and it was a safety meeting, but the meeting was pertaining to whoever recorded it. They were more concerned that someone recorded the ambulance coming on site than they were of the actual worker that got injured.
I had a guy yesterday show me one of his injuries that he got on the site, and he said to me, Miss Sandy, we're getting injured here, and there's no workers' comp. If we get injured and we're out for a month or two, whatever, we're not paid. So we are forced basically to come back on the job site, knowing that we're not properly healed, which puts everybody at risk, because, a worker that is compromised in any way doing manual labor, anything could happen. Yeah. And they're being forced to do it because, as you say, Fred doesn't care about his workers. He's demonstrating that, he has no scruples at all as an employer. So it's shocking.
It's shocking. After you work for him long enough, you realize that that's just the way he's been operating for decades. And completely
getting away with it.
I'm sorry.
And completely getting away with it.
Getting away with it. Completely getting away with it while paying people peanuts, while making millions on the side.
Unbelievable. Someone is asking, and I don't really know Fred. I mean, I've got his picture and I obviously have seen him around. I know he's from East End, I guess. I don't personally know him, but someone is asking who is the real, like, who is backing Fred? Like they can't believe that Fred, there he is. They can't believe that Fred by himself is getting away with all of this. They feel like there has to be a much bigger criminal enterprise here, and there is somebody else that Fred must be working with. I don't have the answers. I mean, I did hear that his business partner, Mr. Billy McLaughlin, I don't know if they're family or what their connection is, that the two of them had this business together. Billy, unfortunately, hasn't been active in the business, and Fred, I guess, throws a couple dollars at him to keep him quiet on the sidelines. And he's out there running the show and doing the most. Absolutely shocking. We do have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Morning.
Morning.
It seems to me pretty obvious who's responsible for allowing them to get away with it.
Oh, the Labor Department?
No, the workers.
Wow.
You can be afraid if you want.
Yes.
Being afraid has consequences.
Yeah. But let me say this, Denny. I think that's a lot easier for us to say as Caymanians. And if you've never, and this is where I'm going to rely on even the time that I lived in the US. If you've never lived in somebody else's country and had to go through the whole immigration system and feeling that you are second class, whether you are or not, that's how you feel. Put on top of that the fact that you're poor and you have limited resources, right? Somebody said being poor is like a crime or something like that. I understand that feeling. I think Miss Stephanie Hunt said it. I understand that feeling. I understand the despair that comes with poverty and feeling like you have no choices. Now, I also understand, and this is where Kyle, he said something, I don't know if he understood the power of what he actually said. He said he read the labor law. He understood it. He knew his rights. And that, folks, is the power of education, of knowledge. That's why they say knowledge is power. Because when you are informed, you are less likely to allow people like Fred to take advantage of you. But it's not an easy predicament, Denny, to be in. And so
okay.
I hear you.
No, I understand this. I know what it's like to be poor.
Yeah, but you don't know what it's like to be poor, a foreigner in somebody else's country on a work permit. Those are all compounded situations.
Which can be easily addressed. Yes, it will have friction. Yes, there will be some discomfort. Mm-hmm. But I want you to tell me that if every single one of those workers went to the Labor Department and gave a statement to the testifying to what happened, you're telling me that the Cayman Islands government will do nothing about it?
Well, what I'm telling you is that Fred is going to get to the workers and replace them quicker. And this is now where WORC comes into the picture, because how this man is getting work permits approved with these known infractions, only God knows. He should never be able to get a work permit in this country ever again. Why is he allowed to get a work permit?
Well, the alternative to what I'm saying is to suffer. Because if you don't sign the paper, if you don't give them the evidence that they need, then they can't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. And that should be pretty clear.
Yeah.
I mean, I
what you're saying, sure.
I'm not saying it's not difficult, okay?
Yes.
I understand why people would be apprehensive about doing it.
Yeah.
But there comes a time where you will either get out of the fire or you will stay there and roll.
Yeah. Thank you, Danny. And I want to say this as well, because yesterday something actually happened to me, which demonstrates the kind of mentality sometimes that we're dealing with, even with the workers. So I understand what Denny is saying, and I also understand the difficulty of being in that situation, of finding the courage. But you also have to understand a lot of times who these guys are, where they're coming from, what it is that they're used to or not used to. Good morning. That situation of finding the caller. Courage. You got to turn down the radio before you call in. Morning.
Sorry about that.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Yes. Morning, Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
And good morning to your guest.
Yes. Thank you.
I heard what Denny was saying, but he also has to understand that there's people out there, that there's one or two of them that, it's not hundreds of people that have gone to the Labor Department, filed complaints, and have gotten little to none. I can speak from experience. As you know, my situation, I was terminated under false pretenses, saying there was a breakdown in relations. I'm not going to get into my situation because it's still ongoing. However, when you go to the Labor Department and you take receipts, the Labor Department will tell you clearly that the individual themselves has to come and make the complaint. They themselves have to file the complaint. Well, sometimes you have to be the voice of the people. And when you have the receipts to prove, as the gentleman said on your guest, document everything, but they wouldn't even take the opportunity to look at anything you provided them. They want the person, the employee themselves. When that employee is fearful for losing their job, they will lose their job. Many people are here that cannot afford to lose their jobs. So they're abused mentally, physically, emotionally, and they're just left out to dry. The system has to change that protects the employee to some degree instead of the employer. The Labor Department is more a go-between. They will have the employee and the employer come sit at a table across from each other while this mediator sits at the end of the table, and the two discuss and they come to some type of realization or resolve the situation.
Right.
And then they lose their job, or they're put in such situations that it's so uncomfortable for them that they're basically forced to quit. So the Department of Labor needs to do something a little different in the handling of these complaints. They need to expedite the situations a little bit more rapidly. I don't know all that entails of what has to be done. But I know there's situations where there's the Department of Labor, there's WORC, and it takes forever. So you have to be really, really patient, really, really understanding. You have to stay on top of everything. And like the young man said, you have to document everything, because you can't have it just hearsay, they say, meaning your boss does this and you as the employee says that.
Yes.
You have to document everything so you have proof. You have to put the whole thing together. It's a lot of work. It entails a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of patience. And a lot of people don't have that time and patience.
Yeah. Or they just don't feel like they're empowered to do it. I mean, we have to be very realistic. I appreciate what Denny is saying, but in order for people to find that, yes, let me find the gumption to do it. Somebody just said even Caymanians are afraid to speak up, much less expats for fear of retribution.
They're not being heard, Sandy. That's the problem. They go to the Department of Labor. They are not being heard. They're not being taken seriously. And whether or not the people at the Department of Labor are actually doing their job, that's a different story. I have no idea. But there's no resolution to it. It just continually happens. There are people being abused. They're being taken advantage of. They are not getting paid their overtime. This isn't just in construction. This is across the board. And I know a retailer that does not pay the overtime, especially over the 9 hours a day. Anybody that works 9 hours a day in most professions are to get paid time and a half. A lot of people don't know that. They could have a 25-hour work week, and one day they work 9.5 hours. That half of that hour, they're supposed to be getting paid time and a half.
Yeah.
People don't realize that. And when he says read the labor law, yes, everybody should be given a copy of the labor law and understand the labor laws.
Yeah.
And these employers that I mean,
but
they're not
some of these guys
Caymanian.
are not able. Let me say this too, right? Even if you give someone a copy of the labor law, if someone can't read it and understand it, what good is giving them a copy of the labor law? I mean, I've had workers, right? Again, Jamaican workers contact me, asking me questions about pension, and they're leaving the country and how pension works. And based on the questions that they're asking and how they ask it, even after I explain it to them, I have to try to break it down 5-6 times for them to get it. So the knowledge and the information just isn't there, caller. But we do have another caller in the line, so let me grab that line, and thank you for your contributions.
All right, Sandy.
Thanks, my dear. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Folks, you got to keep the radio off for me. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you?
Morning. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. Wow, this is a very powerful show this morning. But I wanted to also, thanks for bringing it, because people these things need to come forward now during the election season. So we really have a better idea who to vote for or not vote for. I just wanted to let you know this, that the Department of Labor and Pensions allows businesses to give their staff this waiver letter to waiving their rights to overtime. They allow it.
That's you heard the letter. That's exactly what Fred is doing. You heard me read out the letter this morning. But how is he allowed to do it retroactively? Because he owes all of these guys overtime that has never been paid on this job site. So now that the Labor Department is starting to get complaints, he's come up with this letter saying any overtime that you accrued in the past, you're now signing that you're waiving that. That should never be allowed, because he's already infringed upon the law. So how can you allow him then to legally contract out of breaches of the labor law that are in the past? That doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It does not. It does not make sense.
It shouldn't be allowed to happen. And if the Labor Department sits back DLP and allows this to happen, we need to hold them accountable.
Correct.
Well, it's also the law. The law that needs to be actually enforced. The problem is they're not enforcing that against him, and that's why he keeps getting away with it. And he's probably got somebody up in there that's protecting him as well, that the minute any complaints to him come in, they tend to put them under the rug or ignore them, or they didn't see them. We know how the system operates. The other thing that I, as a business owner, have a problem with, which I've addressed many times with all the ministers from time, I think Roy Bawden was Minister of Labor. The mere fact that the labor law does not have any protection either for the business owner when they have employees that are rogue or did a lot of wrong. The only thing you have is that probation period where you give 24 hours notice or you release them under misconduct. But there's no other protection in the law for businesses, and this is where the law also falls apart at the seams. Because the minute the labor officer reaches out to you, the first thing they're gonna do, which is absolutely wrong, they're gonna call you on the phone. I don't talk to them if they ever call me, and then they don't want to write to you. It is very rare that they write to you. And if they do, they write to you in a very scandalous way. They've already taken the side of the other party. And that's another problem that we have with the Department of Labor and Pensions, is because the minute you go there and file a complaint, whether you're a business owner, well, they hardly ever listen to the business owners. But my point is, they don't even listen to the other side first. They automatically accuse you. I'm sure you've read those letters they sent you.
Let me remind you, caller. We have a minister, right? Minister of Labor and Pensions.
Really, we do?
John himself has been in breach of those very laws. How this government decided to give him labor and pension, only God knows. He still owes people pension money from years ago.
I've said it before, Sandra. The reason they've given him that position in that department is because they want him to stay silent, because he's clueless. He has no idea what's going on in the Department of Labor and Pension, the ministry. He has no idea, or he clearly just plays dumb to the fact that this is his ministry and he don't want to exercise his right to fix all its flaws. And there's so many flaws, and he knows about them, but him and his ministerial staff are sitting up there doing absolutely nothing about it because he's clueless. And if he don't know how to change or fix it.
Whether he's clueless or not, I think the bottom line is he's breached the law himself, and he simply doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
During COVID, his workers were going to the hospital to find out that they had no health insurance coverage. He's owed pensions.
Are you for real?
Yes.
Wow.
Just up to today is Wednesday, just up to Friday. My understanding is some of his workers were being told that they don't have any money at APS to pay them. Just Friday,
oh my goodness.
So they didn't get paid on time either. But leave me there, caller.
Okay, bye.
So let me just make a couple additional comments now about what transpired. What transpired yesterday. And I think, again, this shows you the mentality, unfortunately, of some of the workers and the sad indictment that they're in, because their level of ignorance for some is also to their own detriment. So Kyle, I was there on the site. We got wind of the fact that I knew about the robbery. I found out yesterday morning during the morning show that it was Fred. And of course, I was rolling my eyes going, oh Lord, here we go with crooked Fred again.
You got a robbery.
Morning, caller. Hello, caller.
Morning, Alexander. Sorry. Morning. Go ahead, finish.
No, I was saying that when I went down the location, one Jamaican guy, and I'm gonna be clear, there's hundreds of guys working on the site, so to have one really stupid and ignorant one, I guess, should not be too incredibly shocking and surprised. He was coming, trying to knock my camera off of the because I had it like on a little what we call a monopod on a stick, right? And he was trying to knock my camera off. And I'm like, what? I had to plop a few words on him, like, WTF, what are you doing? Why are you touching my equipment? What the hell is wrong with you, right? I'm here trying to highlight your plight, dummy. Why are you touching my camera and trying to get aggressive with me? Oh, that's because you put the wrong amount in your post. You reported it wrong. I'm like, boy, this is when people show their ignorance. So because I couldn't fathom anybody in Cayman walking around with a couple $100,000 talking about they're doing payroll. So I'm like, I said that amount cannot be right, right? When I first got the news, because you have the amount wrong. I'm like, dude, you're ignorant. You're stupid. I'm here trying to help you guys and highlight your plight. But in some ways, this is typical behavior of Caribbean people and of ignorant people, because listen carefully now. The person you should be slapping and boxing down, his name is Fred McLaughlin, not me. But you not got the balls to walk up to Fred and fight for your rights, but you are trying to get aggressive with me as a woman. Isn't this typical of some of our Caribbean men and some of our Jamaican men specifically? But I told him in no uncertain terms, listen, Bobo, don't you know what with me? Because I will take this monopod and box you upside the head right in front of Stanley, police officer, and it's called self-defense. Don't touch it again. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, blessed morning.
Yes, dear, honey Jim.
I'm glad you went out there. And you cleared the air and you got your evidence. I'm proud of you. But yeah, ignorance is really, but that's really disrespectful. And I hope that gentleman come out and apologize sincerely to you, because you are trying to protect what's going on. You try and get down on the situation and what happened. Mm-hmm. But now, back to Fred McLaughlin. Mm-hmm. I don't know how this man still in this construction industry and making it harder on the rest of us Caymanians out here with the business, especially in the construction field. Me as a female construction business owner.
Yeah. And who was giving Fred all these projects?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I wish I had them projects too, because I've been wanting my hands on hire for the longest time. But how can you hire people and not pull out pension, health insurance, no liability insurance? You got these workers out here paying for their own work permit on top of that.
Yep. You see, there's more than one agency that's obviously failing, WORC, what they should have done yesterday, I mean, if you saw the pictures of these poor guys trying to round up their money, those guys, WORC should have been out there checking every permit and talking to them, because those guys are saying they're having to pay for their own work permit. Fred not paying for no work permits. He's making them pay their equipment. By the time you break it down for everything that they're paying for and the little that they're working below minimum wage. How is that right?
It's not right at all.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Some of them man, they're getting paid as well less than minimum wage, but $6 an hour for labor work or anything like that. Some of them getting paid 12. Mason work, they're supposed to be paying 12. They're supposed to be up there $18 an hour. And you need to tell me that's an $8 billion project and you can't fix yourself out? You can't put everybody on the account with one bank and then you just wire your money. You're not supposed to be walking with no money, no cash like that. So you know something dirty going on around there. And there's a politician that's involved in it too. And it's disgusting. It's your own people that's bringing you down. And you're making it harder for the rest of us. It's very disgusting. And I feel bad for the workers them out there, because I've been watching that project from foundation to where it is now. They've been on it overnight. The amount of police I see there that comes onto the job site. Then you have your light and your water cutting off while you're in the middle of working. Done all right, man. Fix the issue. And you need to realize, open up your eyes, man. Caymanians, open up yourself. Open up. Be wide awake. You wake up, but you're not. The store open, the windows open, but nobody not shopping. All right? Open yourself up. It's election time. Things are going past us and it's underneath our nose. It's ridiculous. It's hard on us right now. Thank you.
Okay, if I could say a couple more things on the water situation. We would have weekly safety meetings regarding the water being gone. We ran out of water several times, like I said, during my time there. I wasn't there. I was only working for about 6 months, but for that time being, every week we would have a safety meeting. Whenever we ran out of water, this would not be brought up in the meeting. A worker, such as someone else or myself, would have to bring it up in order for for our employer to talk about it. And when discussed, hey, we ran out of water. It's fine that, things happen, right? So, and the water is delivered there. So we understand that things happen, but can we have a procedure in place to follow up on in case this happens again? And then our employer would look at us and say, we don't have a procedure in place, but it just won't happen again. And then we have to take our employer's word and just trust them. But again, it would happen again, and we would be left stuck with no choice but to purchase water from a canteen that's on site.
Wow. Unbelievable. Someone, thank you so much for the information. Those of you, I'm going to read some comments now who are sending your messages in, because I want to share some of these with you. One person says, good morning, Miss Sandy. The company that gave him the job is LG Contracting. The name is Alex Lang. Please keep me anonymous. Be blessed. So again, anyone in the industry by now should be well aware of the fact that this man is a problem. So this person says the chief officer is who has oversight of the department, not the politician. Hashtag know your government. The politician is responsible for the law and regulations and funding. What a bangarang. Well, at all levels, I can firmly say that there's failures here. So the department the head of that department, the chief officers, everyone is clearly turning a blind eye to this situation. This person says, good morning. Someone that works in the ministry confirmed he is definitely clueless. I mean, nobody had to confirm that about John. I think we can all look at him and listen to him and see that donkey not playing with a full deck of anything. Another person said, let me see here. Just trying to go through these messages as quickly as possible. They said that planning is a problem. Yes, because the developer is paying Peter Campbell to help them get the plans passed. Oh, my Lord. Jeremy Scott and Gene Hyde are also in cahoots with all of this. So let me be very clear. I reached out to Jeremy Scott yesterday because somebody else said that he had approved permits and that were turned down by the board. And Jeremy said that legally that's not possible. So he wants people to understand, again, hashtag know the law, that they need to make sure that they are getting the law correct because he is being accused of doing things that he has not done and legally he cannot do. So telling y'all how it is. This person goes on to say they are aware of what Fred is doing and Jeremy still issues him temporary work permits. Fred gets the jobs because he does whatever it takes to deliver, including and not limited to extortion. Fred is linked to a few people through John. Fred isn't doing this alone. Trust me, I can't put this stuff in writing. Well, what I can tell you, right, is the minister, Dwayne John Seymour, his name continually comes up in a lot of these construction fiascos, including why Poinciana Point has not been delivered today. Because the people who we're going to save government money under the guise of saving government money, the construction people that he put in charge of that are getting labor so cheap that they don't know the difference between a window and a door. And that's why they can't pass electrical, they can't pass planning, they can't pass nothing for the mental health facility to open up. I'm just saying. Let's talk about this situation now as it relates to someone who has the nerve and audacity to walk around with hundreds of thousands of dollars. Who does that? And more importantly, what banking institution? Because I can't imagine. I'm asking, where is this money even coming from to pay these guys? Because I can't imagine that you could go to which bank? Butterfield, RBC, CNB, you can walk in there and say, oh, I need $200,000-$300,000 in cash to walk out of here with to go and pay my guys. Where the heck is all this source of funds, KYC, questions about money, and all this sort of stuff? So he claims, apparently his office, somebody said his office is right there. Is that the Kirk building? That his office is located right there, basically a stone's throw away across from Kirk's supermarket where Hawkins Shoe Shop used to be, on the side of the building, right? So he's going to go from there, which is a relatively short distance. Like he could have actually walked there and got a little bit of exercise for his health. So he went from there to drive up and pay these guys, and somebody knew exactly what time he was coming, arranged this robbery of all of this money. Well, I got some questions because this is an inside job. Now, I don't know how much of an inside job it is, whether Fred himself was trying to set something up, but this is definitely an inside job. And how do we verify and know how much money was actually taken? He could say it was $500,000. Who would know? Because who's walking around trying to pay guys in cash? And why? The more important question is, why are you taking cash to job site to pay? All of these guys should have bank accounts. Their money should be going. But you know why? Because he is trying to create a situation where there is no paper trail. That's the reason why he's paying in cash. Come and see how many of those guys don't even have a work permit, much less the ones who had to pay for their own permit. I'm telling you, labor should go and shut down that site for an entire week and comb through, or a month, I don't care how long it takes, and comb through every fine detail and send a message to, I don't give a cahoots who hired him, whether it's some lame guy, whether it's the Hyatt, whatever, shut the project down and say, you know what? In the Cayman Islands, if you come here and you get in bed and you lie down with the likes of Fred McLaughlin, this is what is going to happen to you. You have an obligation to vet the people that you're doing business with and that you're giving contracts to. Because who in the industry don't know what Fred McLaughlin is all about? And y'all still giving this man business? That means that you are happy to turn a blind eye and allow Fred to take advantage of other people. So everybody in the chain here needs to be held accountable. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Not bad. How are you?
I can hear you. You be very reeled up this morning. I can understand it. But quickly, all I'm going to say, I hear what you're saying. Like the majority of Cayman people, what you see in Cayman now, that is exactly the true position of the Cayman Islands. It is the true position. Crooks, pimps, high collar, all kind of things going on here. The best thing that could happen to Cayman, which is very needed, regardless of what people want to say, you need a combination of Scotland Yard and FBI come in this island to sort out all of the crime and corruption that is in this island. And I personally believe my opinion, which I'm entitled to. The cartel money and the dishonest money in this island, where you ever see so much construction going on and other things. Listen, what you're saying in this island, this is the true position of what we're in. And what's going to happen about it? All I can tell you, say what you want to say, but there's no changes in a lot of our mind. We need outside intervention into this island like yesterday. Sandy, have a good day. Thank you so much.
Sir. Appreciate it. I mean, it's a calamity. Now listen to this. This person said, they said that, good morning. I was at CNB yesterday after 2 p.m. and saw Fred waiting on a lump sum of dollars. I was so shocked. Ras, he just got robbed the day before, and here he is again with this kind of cash. Fred has got to be stupid. I'm sorry, but really? In the bank, at this point, the bank has some obligation here as well. Why are you allowing Fred to take out all his cash to supposedly go and pay his workers? I'm telling you, you go up in CNB, that who he doing business with? You go up in CNB and you fart loud, and they want to know why you're farting up in their bank, and they need the DNA of the fart. This is how compliance is now, and everything is source of funds and this and that. And I don't have no issues being compliant, right? But how is it that you guys are allowing someone like Fred especially to walk around with all of this cash and creating this huge liability? It's absolutely ridiculous. So let me tell you what the outcome of yesterday was. Late in the day, they were told that they'd be paid 70% of their money. And then the balance, supposedly, they're going to get on December the 2nd, which is the next pay period. Right. And who y'all think I'll be watching and making sure that even that is going to happen? Where is labor? This is my question. Now, Kyle, I know yesterday you were there as well. You showed up when I was there. And, you were telling these guys, fight for your rights. You guys need to stand up. And again, on some level, I am surprised that nobody, and, because listen, they're Jamaicans and they're used to doing some level of protesting, I guess, even in their own country. I'm a little bit surprised that nobody not boxed down Fred yet for the money.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said before, once you're in this position in a foreign country where you're there off a work permit, you're not making good money, you don't have many resources for yourself. It all takes a toll on the individual to want to do something because of fear of retaliation, fear of losing their the spot in the foreign country, fear of not being able to make a better life for themselves.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's ridiculous.
It is. That was the first time since everyone's been working there where such a thing was able to be organized, and I was so proud of them. They did it in a short period of time, 24 hours. They all stood up and decided we're not going to work unless we get some form of payment. And rightfully so, this has been a long time coming. But they can continue that in unity. Everything has to be done in unity. That caller from before was saying, what if they all just go to the work, the Department of Labor? They can only do so much. If they do that, then that's where it's a system. So issue with the system in a way where if they do that, it only functions for the individual. I can go over there and I can explain how Fred is wronging over 300 employees and show all the proof I have from my end. And they would only focus on me. They would only resolve my issue because I'm the only one who's doing the complaint. They would do a general audit, so to speak, on a certain period of time that will take about 6 months on Fred. But like I said, you're dealing with someone who knows the system. He knows how this works. He probably has connections somewhere. So how our system is designed, especially as far as the Department of Labor is concerned, is kind of flawed, and it's easy to work around if you're someone like Fred.
Jenny says, #box down Fred. Gabby said he's going in debt or something and needed that cash. Stephanie says Jamaicans, not box people. Okay, well, all right. So a couple other comments coming in. This person said, I can bet my last dollar that Fred was not robbed. He should show proof where he got his money from. All rubbish. He just did not have the money to pay and made up some scheme. Other people who know Fred, listen carefully to some of the comments. Some people said that they grew up with Fred. And so this is absolutely no surprise because they have, Fred has been doing this sort of thing all the time. Let me just see. Somebody said, I was just going to say the same thing. I saw him in CNB too. And the manager came out to him and he was waiting. Looks like they know him very well. And he was called out of the line, rolling eye emoji. What a mess. Not only that, but most banks charge you 1% when withdrawing only a certain amount above. I think it's like $10,000. And I think you have to pay 1%. But more importantly, how was he able to so quickly find more money to pay them again? Well, to be clear, he still hasn't paid them in full. Another person says, and that overtime waiver has to be approved by the labor board first. I work with someone that was doing the same thing to a lot of the Nepal workers here. Fred got a lady that worked in government doing his payroll. Oh, really? Another person said, I'm also being told that he may be directly hired by the Paget Beach Group, a French company, who is LG Contracting's supposed business partner, and their sales office is upstairs, Craft Restaurant. Well, we getting all the tea here this morning. You can believe me when I tell you. Let me continue reading. And I'm hoping I can get this video up. Otherwise, we'll play it at 9:30, Kyle, because we can't have profanity when we're on the radio. And I'm aware that there's profanity in it. So maybe what we'll do is we'll just play it at 9:30 once we're off radio. But for our 900 people watching on social media, you guys stay tuned for that. Because in his own words, Fred basically admits to breaching the laws. You can imagine. Here's another one. Morning. I grew up in East End with Fred, and he's always been a crook. I would not be surprised if he set up that robbery. How in box cover he even get a business license? WTF? Question. Who is John John's BFF in government? Fool John John? Question mark. Let me see. We need to find out who is the major person in this. Fred only supplies the labor. So lots of people wondering who else is behind this. Another person says, good morning. Why are these workers being paid in cash? Which also puts them at risk, right? There's so many questions that come up, like illegal employment. There's no due diligence on the workers. So no online payments are able. Money laundering. I'm not sure why anyone would work for or with him. Good questions. This person says that their husband knows him well. And he's been even blacklisted from getting turtle meat from the turtle farm because he writes checks that bounce all the time. Wow. If you can't pay your money for your turtle meat, now you know you're broke. What a hot mess. Here's another person yesterday sending through some comments. They said, you'd be surprised, it wouldn't surprise me if Fred didn't set up what appears to be that he was robbed to cover the fact that he doesn't have the money to pay people. Have you seen evidence that he was actually robbed? Fred is a cunning SOB. Then they sent his picture. And they said him and Billy were in business together at one point, but he cut him out. And when I tell you he's a good liar, he could convince the devil that the sun is not hot. If only that would do any good. Because I was saying we're going to talk about Frank today. They said if only that would do any good. He's like a scorpion. Lick him, think it hurt him. When you look again, he's doing some other foolishness. Wow. Oh my God. I mean, just message after message after message. I'm still trying to go through some. Someone asking if Fred and Samantha McLaughlin are connected, the one who just got sentenced for stealing. I could be wrong, but I think they're closely related. I have no clue, to be honest. Yeah, lots of messages coming in about Frank. Oh, there's a lady in Jamaica who said that if she was there here in Cayman yesterday, she would have come and boxed Fred herself because he still owes her money from a project from when? Let me see if I can find that message. I had to chuckle when I heard her with that comment. Hold on. Let me read this to you guys. Let me have you listen to this. This was yesterday. All right, give me 1 second. I'm just going to play this voice note real quick. Can you guys hear that okay? Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that the guy who approached me clearly was ignorant and a coward himself. But anyway, good morning, caller.
No sound, Sandy.
Oh, my apologies. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, I thought you guys could hear those messages. Maybe it's the, all right. Anyway, so she was just sharing her experience. She's in Jamaica, lady there, saying how crooked he is. Let me just see. I mean, I had so many messages coming in yesterday from people that it was quite shocking, quite frankly. I mean, needless to say, a lot of people have had experiences with Fred. Here's another one. Michael is the name of the lady's husband, also on Fred's payroll. Fred refused to do payroll through the bank. Fred's son works there as well. Even when other contractors come on the site, Fred take over the staff and push the other contractor out. So I'm confused. He refuses to do payroll through the bank? Did you ever get a pay slip, Kyle?
That's what I have in front of me. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of a pay slip. This is all the information that's concerned. It's outside, it's printed outside of an envelope. I don't know if you can see that well. This is all the information that the employee receives about their work, their time, the hours, and their pay. They have their employee number, their name, their total hours and total pay. And then you can see in the top right corner that, left corner on the screen that you have the payroll date. For this one in particular, if you multiply, I worked for $14 an hour. If you multiply 14 times 110, which is obviously should be going into time and a half, you get 1,540, which would be straight pay. So that's exactly right there on air, proof of them not paying overtime. And then to go further, that's all paid in cash. So like you said, there's no paper trail.
So somebody else says that what he tends to do is he tends to write the amount on an envelope with date of pay. That's his pay slip.
That's the pay slip. And you cannot request, I've requested a pay statement upon my first month working here, and I received that. After everything went down, I requested an updated pay statement, and they won't give it to you. At this point, they're not going to give the employees pay statements, even if formally requested. They would say that this pay slip, this is our pay statement. That's what they're telling us.
Hi, Sandy. I had an experience with Fred about 15 years ago where he and an American working with him were able to extort $7,000 from my company. Fred is a no good bastard. I mean, this dude has been at it for so long. Now, that voice note, she was saying that she would string him up by his balls if she was in Cayman, but I'm surprised that nobody has done that yet. Another person said, but Sandy, this isn't the same Fred McLaughlin who has been to jail multiple times for conning people out of money? Oh, he's been to jail already? Well, he's brave. The lady name that does his payroll is Donnelly Walton, work at GIS. Okay. The picture coming together now. So he has a government worker doing his payroll. That's not a pay slip, and the law requires pay slips to be provided. So who is enforcing the law? Where is the Department of Labor and Pensions?
They don't even have an HR over there for them. There's no representation for them.
They're very proud of you, Kyle. He should run for office. They're proud of you. Paying these people by checks is not an option anymore? Question mark. Well, it's not an option when you're trying to be crooked, you see. That's the problem. Oh my God, this is just unbelievable. And the turtle meat comes up once again, deep rooted in our culture. This young man, Kyle, seems to have himself together. Well done. All the best to you. Hashtag no turtle meat, Fred. So someone clarified that this project was not approved under the planning department. This was approved under the PPM government. And of course, you know, the PPM was very, very famous for giving concessions. So another person sent me a link where this Pageant Beach Hotel, which I'm assuming this is the same one, got a $10 million duty waiver. That's Fred again for you. I mean, not Fred. That's the PPM. They're another bunch of jokers. Ay. Expats don't stand up for themselves out of fear of retaliation, says this person. What a mess. All right, a few more minutes until 9:30, and then we can watch the Fred video without any issues. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. This person says, Fred is a big criminal. I'm betting that he's the one who organized to be robbed. And if you talk, you're fired. Wow. So what has been the response, Kyle, from the Labor Department as it relates to your complaints?
Here's what I'm picking up. I really do think I'm not going to speak for the whole department, just the ones that I worked with, that there are individuals who take it seriously in the Labor Department of Labor and Pensions. They are doing their job to the best of their ability, but as I said before, the system is flawed enough for the employer to just take advantage. It's easy to work around. It's easy to not have to act on something until you give the employer the name of the employee who's complaining. And just knowing that would put anyone in. Someone said it before, or it may be you. Not many people are in a position where they can just lose their job or risk losing their job. I was fortunate enough to be in a position where I could risk losing, and I did. By the way, anyone who wanted to know the result of all of this, they temporarily laid me off because, of course, they couldn't fire me. But they temporarily laid me off as a result of me pursuing these rights.
Wow. Unbelievable.
So anyone else who would want to do that would also put themselves in the same risk. It would just be worse for someone who's non-Caymanian.
Yeah. So there was a 2018 CMR article, second man charge in beach cocaine heist. Someone asking if that was Fred yesterday. And they said, was Fred the one that you spoke to on the phone during the show, or was it his brother? So yeah, I mean, Fred has come up on this show before as a crook in the construction industry, refusing to pay people. So he's been getting away with this for a very, very, very long time. Oh my gosh. Another person says yesterday that we worked as cleaners at the Kimpton. Listen to how many projects this man gets. When it was being built, and he paid us cash from those times as well. And what he did was make us all work 1 week and held that in the back. And when we took our leave, he would pay it to us, not actual vacation pay, but our own money. Some people till this day, including myself, have not gotten their full money back. It was held in the back for the 1 week without pay. Fred is a fat, expletive, lying thief. Okay, man, in words. Those times he had one lady from East End threatening people about immigration coming today, and it was going to be their last day on the site. All sorts of foolishness went on. One time, your big friend, CC, cursed his blinkety blink out, the whole building light up, because the lady really did treat people like another expletive. CC said, you can't deport me, just make sure I get paid and send her to her yard. That day was a big thing. Okay, so that was that comment. Another one, my brother said that Fred said he's coming back and giving them 3/4 of the pay yesterday. And so apparently after 5:59 p.m., this person said that person just collected their pay and they got paid only about 70% of what was owed to them with promise. Now, you know them old people. My aunt would tell you, a promise is a comfort to a fool. Well, coming from somebody to like Fred, it definitely not gonna be no comfort, honey child. Because come and see now who can really get paid. Come December 2nd, their regular pay plus the additional money that's owed. Good morning, caller.
Your guest just said that he was temporarily laid off because of the action that he took. All right.
Yep.
He made the comment that not a lot of people can afford to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But most roads have 2 lanes, and there's a lane going in the opposite direction. And so if all of those workers were to walk off the job, how long do you think that would take to throw his work schedule off? And what do you think the developers of the project, running the risk of a delay in the project, what do you think those developers are going to say to him?
Well, it was that type of organized action which led to the workers to be paid yesterday. That turnaround was as quick as probably Fred could get it to them, because they were all standing in unison, not working. And
No, I'm not talking about yesterday's pay alone. I'm talking about all of the not paying the overtime, not paying the holidays.
Kyle gets your point.
yes,
He's saying that it worked yesterday, so maybe they need to do it more often.
correct. They it worked. They showed that it could work, and just imagine if they didn't say anything. They just continued working. Fred would have probably allowed them to just keep working without the pay and pay them some percentage on their next check. But it was that unison, that standing in unity, collective, as a collective unit, all of the workers, that allowed them to get paid so fast. And I do agree with the assessment that they need to be able to do this for the other issues as well.
No, they can do it. They can do it. They're choosing not to do it. And what I'm saying is that yes, the individuals will feel some pain, yes, but that's temporary pain, okay? But you got to remember, Fred is going to feel pain too, because when you start to delay a major project, you are going to have developers breathing down your neck. So don't think that it's a one-sided pain. And I want to encourage people to stand up for your rights, because you have to understand something. The only rights you will have are those you defend. Any rights you refuse to defend, you will lose. All right? Now, there's a bigger problem going on here. You have a minority government not interested in the rule of law here. This is clear. And we have the majority of MPs who are consenting to the minority of MPs ignoring the rule of law.
All right, Denny.
Take care.
9:30. Thank you very much, folks. We're gonna switch off the radio now, and I can finally play Kyle's video here of this crook Fred. And you guys know what that means. We can get a bit more colorful now that it's 9:30. Kyle, people want to know if you live in Cayman. Young man, somebody needs to give you a job. You're well-spoken, and you seem to be willing to do the right thing. So I'm hoping that people are watching how you are presenting yourself. Says to please give Kyle a kaboom. There we go.
I do live in Cayman now. And I do plan on starting my own businesses. And when I do plan on paying my workers' work permits, have their health insurance, and if they do
follow the law.
Exactly.
Yeah. Steph says none of them providing pay slips. They put certain amount on your work permit, and then they don't pay what is agreed to. Jim says HR works for the companies, not for the employees. That's true. Strong Wilt says construction workers, $14 an hour. That's ridiculous. OMG. Amaya says some stores have managers that didn't even go to secondary school, and they don't even speak proper English. And you can go and confirm it yourself, but yet they don't speak English, but they find a way to abuse others, instead go to school and better themselves. It's an epidemic here. DJ Truckin says we all know what's going on in Cayman, but we turn a blind eye. Cayman, aka washing machine. There's a comment here, and I heard this story yesterday. I'm trying to remember who the hell told me the story, but he once sold a frozen mop saying it was turtle meat. So this is wild. But I was talking to someone about Fred last night, and they said to me that this is a true story. Somebody bought turtle meat from Fred. This just shows you what kind of crook he's a crook with everything, right? Someone bought turtle meat from Fred, or they thought they were buying turtle meat, and he had took an old mop, cut it up, and froze it and put it in the freezer, handed it to the person to say, yeah, here's your turtle meat. And when they go home now to try to defrost the turtle meat to cook it, they realize it's a mop. This man is sick. Like Fred got some problems. Anthony says Fred is who organized the drug robbery at Moritz Hotel in East End, and only one man served time for that. Wow. Jason says Fred is a real criminal. I worked with him for years, and he's the worst employer ever. He got me fired because he was given a raise of pay for me, and he didn't give it to me, so I asked him about it. Mr. Goodlook says, like I said before, this isn't the first time, and it won't be the last time. I'm also still waiting for payment from the high school north side with him, and Billy was cooking each other. What do you mean by him and Billy was cooking each other? Jim says, that is paid, Denny. These workers cannot afford to lose. Everyone is in their own, not everyone, is in your financial position. Sonia says, government needs to do something about this labor board. Minister of Labor, come on, man, slackness on this island. Jim says, but it is one-sided. The employer has the upper hand. And with the upper hand, the employer holds it over the employee's heads. Good morning, Scott. Good to see you. Scott says, until there's some protection for the worker, they won't step out too far because there's plenty of other illegals or people willing to pay their own work permit to stay in Cayman. And that is a sad fact. Irvelin says, wicked bumbleclot. Cooking, not cooking. Crooking. Crooking, sorry. I was like, they cooking each other. What the hell? How the hell are they doing that? So this thing about him holding back pay, someone says he does that every single December. Now, you see, if DLP had any sense, they'd be listening to this show this morning because a lot of people are letting out his tricks of how he crooks people. So every December, he holds back 1 week's pay. And the person who can kick Fred off the site is a site representative, Joe, who works for Hyatt. But he is not going to do that because he has to complete the project. Who is Joe? Joe who?
Joe is the superintendent of the Grand Hyatt project.
What, you know his last name? Who's he connected to? He's connected to Grand Hyatt?
He is. He's connected to Grand Hyatt. He's probably the one person above Fred.
Yeah, we need a full name, and now we need to get a hold of Grand Hyatt Corporate and ask them if they know of all these infractions that's happening here in the Cayman Islands. Another person says, good morning. Fred was a cocaine addict and a dealer a few years back. One person says, Fred, John, and McKeeva should be deported. This person looked at some articles, 2008, man sentenced for deceit. Fred Allen McLaughlin was sentenced to 3 years imprisonment last week for obtaining property by deception, pretending that he was employed by Dart Realty or Dart Management. McLaughlin, 43, pleaded guilty to 2 charges, one involving $2,500 and another for $450. So, wow, this man has been to jail. He's been cooking people, and he's still not stopping. Unbelievable. And passing sentence magistrate at the time, Ramsey Hale, took into account his previous convictions for offenses of dishonesty. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. Around November to December 2007, McLaughlin called a furniture store owner purporting to be an employee of the Dart Foundation that was interested in purchasing $1 million worth of furniture from the store. Oh my God. What the fuck am I reading here this morning? This man is a proper crook. Oh my God. So on Monday, December the 3rd, he met with the owner, presenting himself as being authorized to make representation on behalf of Dart Realty Camana Bay. This guy is crazy. McLaughlin was able to induce the owner to lend him $2,500, which he said he needed to help a friend who was in the hospital in Miami. The owner gave him $2,000 in cash and a check for $500, and then drove him to the bank to cash the check. Wow. McLaughlin promised to repay him out of the commission for the arrangement. McLaughlin purportedly made a phone call to his office at Dart to have a check made out for the store owner in the sum of $500,000 to be delivered at 1 p.m. that day. He also left a phone number saying that he could be contacted if need be. After 1 p.m. arrived, but the check did not, the store owner tried to call McLaughlin. He got no answer. He then contacted the DART Foundation and found out that they did not have any Fred McLaughlin in their employ. The man realized that he'd been conned and contacted police. McLaughlin was spoken to by police and bailed. And then on Monday, December the 10th, he went to car wash business and purported to be the fleet manager. Geez, some piece. No, some. Purported to be the fleet manager for DART Management. He said he wanted to set up a business arrangement to get 74 cars cleaned and washed. 2 days later, he returned to work out arrangements for the first 21 vehicles. He told the manager he needed $450 urgently to assist his wife. He said he'd pay it back by Friday the 14th, and he was given the money. On Friday, no cars arrived to be cleaned. No cars arrived on Saturday or Monday either. On Tuesday the 18th, the car wash manager contacted DART Management and inquired about the arrangement, and he was told Fred McLaughlin was not their employee. DART then contacted the police and asked for an investigation. Wow. Defense attorney John Furness, at his first court appearance, he said he obtained the money because he was under pressure to pay for drugs that he had purchased but still owed for. And then he spent money to obtain more drugs. Furness expressed surprise that in both cases, the businesses had handed over the money on the basis of what McLaughlin had told them. Neither made a phone call until afterwards. Really? Victim shaming? There was discussion of McLaughlin's application to be considered for the Drug Rehabilitation Court. So, yeah, it looks like Fred has had some issues over the years. That's but one story. Here's another one. Cayman Mall Road reported on him back in 2018. Second man charged in beach cocaine heist. So this now is 10 years later when he's 53 years old. So 53-year-old Fred McLaughlin from Bodden Town was charged yesterday with various offenses in connection with an incident in the East End at an East End resort in December involving the theft of cocaine from the beach. It was seen as a brazen daytime robbery. The staff were threatened after cocaine washed up on the beach Christmas Eve. What was thought to originally be a lone robber turns out to have been two men working in conjunction with one another to carry out the heist. Multiple videos, I remember this now, multiple videos of the two men were circulated showing them taking off with the drugs. The other suspect, 35-year-old Marvin Grant, was arrested almost immediately and also appeared in court. Police said McLaughlin was arrested on Tuesday and charged with conspiracy to rob and conspiracy to supply controlled drugs. Wow. Unbelievable. Offshore alert. Samson Law versus Fred McLaughlin in 2019. This guy is a prolific crook. There's quite frankly no other way to describe what he does. So let's see what this one is about now. Wowee. It's like one after the next. So this document, let me see if we can download it. This is 2019. Give me 1 second here. Let's open this one up. 2019. All right, so this is Samson Law versus Fred McLaughlin. The sum of $30,938.95 being money owed for work done, legal services rendered, and money paid by the plaintiff as the defendant's attorney for and on behalf of the defendant at his bequest. Interest at 2 1/3% per annum. So basically, he owed them money for legal services, over $30,000, and never paid it. There you go. He's definitely a criminal. All right. Fred is a drug addict, and his brother Billy. Oh, so Billy McLaughlin is his brother. I was wondering how they were connected. So Billy's his brother. Okay. So Fred is a drug addict, and his brother Billy, I think, is the licensed business owner, and he fired or run the business for him. I heard he even sold his wife's car, and she had to pay back the people that buy it to get her car back. You got the information that I was going to discuss. Check your political contacts, and then you'll see how he's getting permits and jobs. All of the 19 have gained in some ways from Fred. Oh, Lord. Wow. Somebody said Billy is not his brother. Fred is the first person known to sell a drawing of a cow instead of the actual cow. What? Oh my God. I think somebody was telling me this too. How the story with the cow went again? Yeah, this is legit. Like he told somebody that he was going to sell him a cow, and then he actually gave him a drawing of a cow. He got off of the cocaine charge at Moritz, and Billy is not his brother. Somebody else confirmed that Billy and Fred are not brothers. Oh, they're probably cousins or something though. They're cousins. Yeah, somebody has said, no, they're not brothers, they're cousins. Okay. Oh my God. So Zhao is the French man, works for the French company. So let's see if we can find this Zhao Batista Marinho Diaz. Does this dude actually live in Cayman? Does anybody know? Let's see if we can find a number for him. Oh, we can track people down today and ask the question, how is it that Fred keeps getting all these jobs? So it looks like he is telephone number. He might be overseas. Anybody have this guy's number? Because we need to call him today. Number or email address. And he works for who? The French company? And what's the name of the French company? Because if we can't find him directly, we can maybe find the company. Somebody said, I heard the mop story before. Someone else says, I'm seeing that he needs to have his ass kicked. Cayman contractors have been robbing workers for decades now. I went through that with my ex-husband who works in construction. I would cuss him out every time he showed up to work with money owed to him. What a mess. This Fred guy is a real piece of work. With a project that size, there's no way the developers/owners don't know who he is. He was likely hired for his cheap and dishonest price. All right, let's watch the video. Give me 1 second here. Let me see. And you can kind of tell us a little bit here, Kyle, about this video and, you know, why you recorded it and what this video is going to show us.
Okay. Like I said, I documented everything while I was over there. And that included the meetings that I had with these individuals. I had a meeting with Fred. I had a meeting with Joe, speaking to them about what's going on, just to see what they know and what they were willing to do to rectify the situation. But you'll hear it in the video, him asking me questions that's above my pay grade, that I knew the answer to, that but he wasn't willing to pay me for. You'll hear him say, talking about the not being able to pay their employees the time and a half or overtime. And you'll hear claims that it's because he himself is not getting paid that amount, which is likely a lie. But it was falling on deaf ears because I'm not going to have the employer infringe upon not only my rights, but the rest of our employees' rights.
Yep. So another person says, Fred has been a con from birth. I remember one time he got an old mop, froze it, and sold it to an elderly man for turtle meat. Somebody's saying, can we show his picture? Yes, we'll show Fred again. Liliana, good morning. Liana, sorry. Who balls Fred playing with to get away with all these convictions? Which politician is this? Yet if it was any one of us, long time prison. JD says LMAO, nothing yet. How are so many people gullible here? Gabby says, on a need to keep watch on him, see if him or anyone connected to him make any big purchases in the near future. El Ray, good morning. So how many crooked events makes you a proper crook? Lori says he's now 60 years old and the dude don't look like he's slowing down with his crooked ways. That's the sad thing. Sonia says, Kyle, keep on doing what you should be doing. You should keep on doing good. You should be working at the labor board. Well, labor, if y'all looking for somebody, please consider Kyle. Seriously, definitely. All right, let's watch the video, folks.
Hey, how you doing, Fred? All right. Nice to meet you again.
Oh, I know.
Well, I had a concern regarding my pay. I wasn't able to get my overtime, my time and a half.
Well, we don't get paid time and a half. We get paid straight time. That is it. We don't get no overtime.
You're saying you don't get it from someone else. May I know who that is?
Come on now, you're going too far now.
All right.
We don't get paid overtime.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. But you do get overhead for every worker that you have. You make dollars off of them. I don't understand how that you can't. All right, for every worker you have, you make dollars off of them. They don't pay their work permits. They don't pay.
Hold on here now. Hold on here. You the spokesperson for this company, or?
No.
You're talking about yourself?
Yeah, I'm talking about
You're
myself.
not talking about yourself because you don't got a work permit.
Okay.
You don't have a work permit.
I don't need a work
so
permit.
don't bother go there.
Okay, we don't need to go there.
Listen to me, like what I tell you on about you the other evening. You, as far as I'm concerned, I can kick your fucking ass off the site for your whatever you have to get. Because you going wrong on the site causing stir, telling everything of your mouth is labor board, right? A lot of people been complaining about you, right? And I call you out to get to the point that I called you out and told you out on Wednesday night, on Tuesday night to try and talk to you.
I didn't do anything with educate anyone.
Listen to me. Listen to me. The labor law states that you should be 9 hours of work per week.
Correct.
Okay.
So when I work 120,
I know you get paid for 120. That's all they pay me. 120 hours. Okay.
Okay, but wait, you couldn't chip me off 180, the amount that I'm actually owed?
What?
That's the amount. That's the difference between the straight pay and my time and a half is $180. We couldn't find $180 in that budget to pay me something that I'm owed.
Like me?
Yeah, because.
What do you mean in which budget? Listen, all right, I know what you do. You take your things and you leave the site because you're gonna cause problems. You're gonna cause problems, sir.
Okay, right? So you're gonna have me leave the site just because I'm concerned about the pay?
Because we do not pay. You do not pay overtime. We do not have no overtime in the budget for it. I pay you $14 an hour. I get paid $16 an hour for you.
Okay. Aware.
And I pay you 14. How the fuck am I gonna pay you overtime out of that? Tell me now. Tell me where am I going to pay, where overtime comes in.
So
you listen to me as though no.
Yes.
If you want to work here, you work 9 hours a week. Whenever that 9 hours up, whether it's from Monday to Friday or whatever, you don't work anymore.
Okay.
Because we don't pay overtime.
That's fine.
The company don't pay overtime.
That's fine.
They don't pay me overtime. I can't afford to pay you overtime. All right?
That's fine.
I can only pay you what's paid to me.
So, just to be clear, am I going to be the only one who's cut off at 90 hours, or is everyone cut off at 90 hours?
It doesn't matter. Anybody that doesn't
I think it matters because it's retaliation against just one employee. Me.
It's not.
It's just me.
But it's you. It's you that's complaining.
It's me just. Okay, so because
it's you that come in there complaining.
I'm not complaining. I'm concerned. I'm concerned over my pay because
the rest, everybody else understands. It's not. I mean, you're no different from anybody else.
Yeah.
Right. You're just one worker, one disgruntled worker that don't want that think that he should be paid overtime when the company that you work for ain't paid overtime. How am I going to pay you overtime if I'm not paid overtime? Tell me.
If you want me to solve that problem, you can put me in a position to solve that problem. However, that shouldn't be my problem, right?
I put you in a position. You put yourself in that position. I didn't tell you go solve it. What are you gonna do? What can I do?
I'm saying I could figure something, like if you really want the answer to that problem, that question that you have, I can do that. I can do that research. I have been there.
But you can't do no research with me. You don't know the law like
I read I read the 2021 revision of the Labor Act 3 times. I read it 3 times. I do know it.
Well, if you don't want to work,
I want to work.
If you don't want to work with the rates or whatever that we have here, or the policy.
There's nothing wrong with the wage rates. There's nothing. If the policy is stating that no one gets paid overtime, because you can't do that. We have to sign off to say that we don't want to get paid time and a half. We do. And then it has to be approved by the labor board. You know that.
Listen, brother, can I get out of my office?
Yes, sir.
Get out of my office.
Okay.
And if you want to go labor board, you go labor board.
I understand.
But when you go and they come back and they come to me, you know it doesn't matter to me. Okay?
It doesn't matter that no one...
Listen.
Yes, sir.
You're just one person, and if you gonna impede others from working overtime and not being paid time and a half, then we don't need you. We don't need people like you. We don't need people like you to disrupt this job site.
I'm not disrupting
any other job site.
I educate people.
You cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong telling people this, telling workers that.
Educating people on the law is disruptive during my break. At that, I don't do this during work hours. I work very hard during the work hours.
We do not. You don't have to educate nobody. You want the
I know I don't have to.
Listen, don't raise your voice in there.
Yes, sir.
Don't raise your voice in there.
You're right.
Don't raise your voice in there.
Wow.
You just one person of 300 and odd workers that here. You're the first one. You're the first one, and you're going to be the last.
Wow. Boy, let me tell you something. Kyle, thank you so much for being the one person. You see what he's saying? You're one person, but one person can make a difference. And one person stood up to this man. And I gotta be honest with you, you really kept your cool, because it would not have been me. The way he was talking to me and talking to you, and then you were still like, yes, sir, listen to me. I would have dropped some motherfucking words on him right up in that office. But thank you for being professional, because it does bring home the point of what a real piece of shit this man is. You weren't disrespecting him in any way, shape, or form. You were just asking about your rights. But you see, he recognized, Kyle, that you're an agitator. You know, some of the world's greatest agitators are people like Nelson Mandela, people like Martin Luther King Jr. Those are some of the world's greatest agitators. Because people listen to them. Then you say, what are you telling people for? You getting in their head. When was this recorded, by the way?
That was late September.
Wow. Big kaboom for Kyle. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, Sandra. I congratulate you, Kyle. You kept your composure as a young man. Because if it were me out a long time, pick up that staple and box him across the head.
Thank you.
And me, look here, you don't disrespect nobody like that. I don't care how old you is. Manners is manners, and respect is respect. It goes both ways. And the way how he retaliated and raised his voice at you and calling you a little boy and all that kind of stuff, like you don't know nothing. Let me tell you something. you where you is today, you gonna get somewhere. Don't make nobody pull you down.
Yeah.
I've been there and I done that. I'm a young female. I've been getting the downgrade, everything saying, but I can't do electrical work. I'm not supposed to be on Mansfield. Look where I am this now. 5 years in business. Tell me that I can't go nowhere again. All right? But him, no man. But correct me if I'm wrong. This is where I want to get to the point. Where you get these 9 hours from? All I know per week, 4 to 5 hours per week. You get your 40 hours, right? Monday to Friday is 40 hours. Then you did on the weekend is 5 hours extra. Where does 90 hours come from? You working in nighttime for him too?
No, it's the 90 comes from being paid on a bi-weekly pay period.
Did he mean 90 for every 2 weeks?
Correct. Yes.
But he was accidentally saying 190 per week.
Yes.
Yeah. But you have to watch people like him because they will make you work 90 per week if you're that stupid. If you're stupid enough to do it, and he's not gonna pay you no overtime, as he clearly stated. Wow! Congratulations to you, Kyle. I mean, honestly, people are thanking you for being the voice of reason and for really standing up to this big fat bully that he is.
Yeah,
because
I don't see, stop putting young people down. This is something wrong with our my generation. It came on and a big elder, stop putting the young Caymanians down. This is why the crime rate is going up now.
Yep.
And it's chastising the young children. These are your young Caymanians that's supposed to be looking out for you when they're not ready to push stroller down the road.
See what Stephanie says? The man just said that he doesn't care about the labor board. Kiss my teeth. Diabetes and hypertension, do your job, please.
Little boy better get on it. Somebody better get on it. Somebody.
Oh my God, Stephanie.
They really need to shut down that site. They need to shut it down. And where's Shondell Borden? I want Shondell Borden to go and do inspection on that site all over again.
Shondell. He does electrical, right? He's still doing electrical
No,
inspections?
he's supposed to be chief board of building control or something.
Oh, okay. All right,
I know
honey,
he's still in the electrical field.
Yeah. Thank you so much, baby. All right.
Have a good one.
Another call on the line. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy.
Lord have mercy, Mr. Dexter. How you doing?
Oh my God!
You can believe this?
The audacity of Fred McLaughlin.
You can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't. You know, the amount of times I'd say to people when they say, "Oh, well, Sandy brings up stuff that she shouldn't bring up." Let me tell you something. We would be in deep crap if it wasn't because of you. You know, and I take my hat off to that young man standing his ground. You got the man recording everything that man. It takes a lot of people with a man with cojones to do what he done, and I take my hat off. You know, this has been going on. And you know what makes me really sad, Sandy? It's our own Caymanians. That is the sad part about this. He knows what he's doing, and the people that has him hired. I'm talking about Fred McLaughlin.
Yes.
They know that he can get the job done because she has somebody backing him in the authorities.
Yep.
Otherwise, he would never have been able to do this.
Exactly.
You do not work. You do not work outside of the labor law, and not pay people. It's mandatory that you pay people for overtime.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Dexter.
Okay, Sandy. You take care.
Priscilla says,
Kyle,
yes, sir.
Kyle, you don't have to be anything to be afraid of. People have your back. Unfortunately, people are afraid to call in.
Somebody please give Kyle a job here this morning. I think that's the best way to show that standing up is the right thing to do. But thank you, Mr. Dexter.
Okay.
Priscilla says, "Wow, that's why they don't want to hire Caymanians, no matter how willing or capable." 1 second. Morning. Are you trying to call the show this morning?
Good morning, ma'am. I'm to deliver.
Oh, just come to the location, sir. We're waiting for you.
Okay, then.
All right, good. All right. Faith and Hope says it takes one person. Gabby says, well done, Kyle. Stayed very respectful. Don't know how you did it, but good for you. I mean, trust me. As I was listening to that, Kyle, in my head, I was already popping off a few words. I mean, that motherfucker, I'm sorry, but Lord have mercy. Your parents did a good job raising you, son. Good for you. My aunt did a good job raising me too, but when I became an adult, my mouth decided that it wasn't going to join church with bullshit. So, I can't help it. It's my one vice, I guess. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything else, but I cuss like a sailor. There you have it. Gabby says, oh yes, I read that one. Erica says the first one to speak up. Kudos. Charles is in shock. Charles is like, oh my God. Yeah, it was shocking to hear this man. Evelyn says, hats off to you, young man. I applaud you. Venetia says, poor young. Sorry that he had to go through this. Abby says, he said he don't need workers who stand up for their rights. It takes one domino to topple many. That is so true. Wow. He don't need workers. You can imagine. Shannon says, kudos to Kyle. Faith says, one to start a revolution. Kaboom. Let's give Kyle another kaboom, folks. I'm so glad that when I was there yesterday that Kyle came by the job site, and that's how I was able to connect with this young man. Evelyn says, Kyle is a gentleman, very smart young man. Angela says he's the first one to stand up to him because the others are afraid to lose their job. Damien says, oh yeah, the guilt trip and fear mongering. Like you can see him gaslighting you and talking all kind of foolishness, right? Joanne, good morning, says, wow, he's a piece of work. Kyle, you should be wearing a cape. You better believe that. Erica says, Kyle. Raised by Marlene and Donnie Ebanks. Those are your parents?
Yes, it is. That's my sister right there.
Okay. Yes, boy, they did a good job, honey child, because I can tell you what, not too many people would probably, like that woman said, take a stapler and staple his head for him. But anyway, we applaud you for keeping your cool and keeping it professional. Bonnie says, trust me, Kyle, you're the voice of the voiceless. Priscilla says, very proud of you. Shamar says, big up yourself, Kyle. The reason they don't like us Caymanians. Jean says, Kyle was a disruptor in the best sense of the word. Yes, sir. Andy says, Labor Act, Section 25(1). Charles said, the man said if the labor law goes to him, it won't make any difference. The confidence he has that he don't care about nothing. Yeah, I mean, he said that very, very strongly. And this is why when you hear rumors like who's supporting him, John, this way, it does make you wonder where he get them big balls from. You know what I'm saying? For him to think that he's above the law and be so confident saying that to other people. Faith says, you look like one young hero alive. That's the power of education and using it. Priscilla said he should be ashamed to treat a young Caymanian this way, and shame on the government departments that continue to allow him to treat people like that. Carrie Tibbetts says the Cayman Islands government is the worst at enslaving people. You have poor civil servants working 4+ jobs in some ministries and getting paid for one. Ay. Gabby says, I hope Kyle gets his dreams. Applauding Kyle says we need to do a hashtag applauding Kyle here this morning. Julie says this young man is going places. Stay focused. Evelyn says hats off to you, Kyle. Let Kyle take over, says Erica. I mean, Kyle was like, hey, I can help you figure this out since you seem to be confused. I applaud you for trying to, you offered to help him. He's like, no need fixing around, yeah. Al says, I'm always on the side of a disruptor, fighting/standing up for human rights, the Malcolm X mentality. So good to see. Allison says, very proud of you, Kyle. You kept your cool. Stephanie Hunt, you killed me dead. I know that comment from Stephanie. Where is that comment again? That was definitely the comment of the day. Let me tell you something, Stephanie. That comment, I got to find it again. Where did I put it? Stephanie says, the man just said that he don't care about labor board. Kiss my fucking teeth, diabetes and hypertension. Do your job, please. Seriously, Stephanie, it's so wrong, but it's so right. I mean, Lord have mercy. Oh my God, I can't even with y'all. Y'all misbehave in the best kind of way. Unapologetic says hourly workers are required to work at least 44 hours per week as per the labor law. The law also states that if overtime is accumulated, it's to be paid times 1.5, or if it can be paid straight time if the employee agrees to it, where the difference can be recorded and considered for PTO paid time off. Listen, this dude is doing whatever. Lynn says, in a world of McKeeva's, be a Kyle. Well done. Oh, I like that. That's a good one. Be a Kyle. Yeah, I like it. Bayani says, this guy is unbelievable. He owes his own brother thousands of dollars from working at Kapuk along with 14 others. He heard he'd buy truck for family members, boat, car, motorbike, a new car for his wife, and can't pay his brother who helped him run 2 sites at Kimana Bay. When was this, Bayani? Was this after he pretended to work for the DART organization or during that time? Because I hope to God that they would never hire him again, even as a subcontractor. Raymond doing some math for us on how much he's pocketing. Charlene says, you continue on to success, Kyle, as a Canadian myself that do not tolerate individuals like that. I'm so proud of you. You're smart, knowledgeable, and professional. Just let no one become an obstacle on your pathway to success. Joseph Wood, morning, Joey, says, congratulations, Kyle, and speaking up in a professional and respectful manner. This is very commendable and a great example for others. I know Kyle wasn't even raising his voice. Now that is respectful indeed. Nicole says, more Caymanians need to have the balls like Kyle, stand up for what's right. Smart young man, very proud of you. Strong Wilt says, big respect to Kyle. Marva says, Kyle is my hero. Jamaican says so. Yes, sir. Tell him, Miss Marva. Miss Charlene says, that's what we need on this island, a revolutionary uprising for all the corruption and lawlessness actions we're dealing with. Damien says it goes the same for hiring Caymanians first with their employers. They know works will have no repercussions. What a mess. You see why the young Caymanians don't even want to go into these fields. Can't blame them because of their own oppressing them, for real. Angela says, 1 second here. Big shout out to our Instagram viewers as well. Angela says, Kyle would be a good advocate for human rights. So these guys working on holidays also, listen, here's a list of infractions that we're aware of. Making them pay for their own work permits, not paying them overtime, not paying them holiday pay, not paying for pension, not paying for health insurance. When they get injured, they have no recourse in terms of like any sort of, workers' comp or anything like that. And they're constantly living in fear and being threatened about job losses if they dare to question anything. It's absolutely crazy. Tiara says, Kyle should run for 2025 elections. First Lady says, big up your damn self, Kyle. Enough respect. Kyle, thank you so much. Tons of messages. Hashtag be a Kyle. Let's get that trending. This person says, thanks for sharing. Very unfortunate as to accusations that are baseless. This is coming from government workers because people are questioning their ethics. What I want to say is just get out there and do your job. Just do your job. Someone says, how is it that if I apply for a job, I have to provide a police record, but he doesn't? Speaking about Fred. I don't know, because I guess it's his company. You see? So he's a subcontractor. Nobody's doing their due diligence. All right, so let's give somebody a call here today. This person says, them EastEnders harboring Fred DLP is not going to do anything. Well-mannered heart emoji, Kyle. All right, so let me see here now. 1 second. We have a guy here, Mr. Alex Lang. We have his number. Let's try to give him a call to see what he has to say for himself, if we can get a hold of him. So just 1 second, folks. Y'all know we like to go straight to the sources.
I'm sorry, but the person you have called is unavailable.
Unavailable, honey child. Let's see if we can get them on, I wonder if we can get them on a WhatsApp call, because sometimes people don't keep straight calls and phones anymore. So let's try one more time. 345. Yep. Yeah, I mean, listen, nobody is supposed to be above the law. And for people to operate in a manner where they didn't get that memo is very, very concerning. And I think that, something needs to be done. Let's see if we can get a hold of him. All right. No answer from him, but we're going to continue. Somebody said, I'm very proud of this young man. Kyle, thank you for doing this show. So we are going to continue to try to reach out to the authorities. I know that they have been paying attention, and that's what's important here, is hopefully something can be done. So hashtag not a Karen, but a Kyle. Yeah, be like Kyle. I love it. So Kyle, thank you so much for being brave. Sometimes you are the only person willing to stand up in life, and you've done the right thing.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on.
So, we're going to continue to keep on top of the situation. We need to see some real change. We posted your video of that conversation with Fred. This needs to go viral. DLP needs to go down there and raid that job site and any other job site that Fred is associated with. All of the people who work with Fred, his business partners, should now be questioning their own ethics and why, they continue to do business with him, knowing that this is the type of unethical person that he is. So do the right thing, or you're going to get exposed. Somebody says you won't reach Alex. He's Dart's puppet and build all his 10-story buildings in Cayman Bay. He won't answer you, trust and believe. Well, you know what? We can put some, if the Dart organization is funding Alex and then Alex is funding Fred, we can put some pressure on the Dart organization as well and start to ask them some questions about how this situation really go. You see, this is how it works, right? There's always a bigger fish out there and everybody feeds in to everybody else. So whoever the biggest fish is in the ocean, that's who we need to be talking to. So if they're working with Alex and Alex is working with Fred, maybe the Dart organization needs to say, hello, Alex, if we're going to continue working with you, you need to have some scruples and you need to stop working from Fred, who has been exposed on multiple occasions for being someone who has no respect for the laws of this country. Agreed? Thank you, Kyle. Really appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Now, so you're not currently working, Kyle? Is that the situation?
Okay, so I was laid off until last week. Well, I'm still laid off from that position, but someone was able to hire me, a nice man named Valentino. He knows that I've done real estate in the United States, and he gave me a chance over here, especially after hearing about my situation. So I'm in Utopia Realty. If you ever need a real estate agent for buying or selling or even renting, you can just reach out to them or myself, and
respect.
Do my best to help you out. and always operate with good ethics and under the law.
Yeah, I love it, Kyle. That's fantastic. Because the real estate industry, funny enough, is another industry that's coming under the CMR spotlight here shortly. But Kyle, we're gonna give you a little something. We know you haven't been working for a minute, so on behalf of CMR, we want to make a little donation to you. Hope you don't mind. We're gonna donate $500 for you to do whatever you want. You know, I'm sure you've accumulated some bills while this asshole was jerking you around. So, take it and put it towards your bills, put it towards whatever little business you got going on or whatever you want to do with it. And thank you again for standing up. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. That was totally unexpected. I really appreciate that more than you know.
Okay. Awesome, Kyle. We'll be in touch with you just here after the show. All right, folks. Listen, the lesson here is it only takes one person, right? One voice, one person to make a difference. And I really hope that the other workers on this job site, I'm sure a lot of them will probably end up watching this program in part or in whole. Please do not come to the Cayman Islands and allow anybody, I don't care who it is, to take advantage of you, okay? You set a precedent, unfortunately, that impacts other people. And I know that it's hard. I'm not asking something that's impossible, but I do understand the difficulty of the position that you are in. I have been in the same position, living in another man's country, restricted on where I could work. At the time I was working, I could only work at the university, right? And I had someone trying to trample on my rights when I was at USF, working at the Supreme Court, student Supreme Court at the time. And you know what? I refused to allow that person to abuse me and abuse my work rights. And I stood up and I spoke out. And as a result of that, I got fired. I lost my job. But you know what also happened? We had a sit-in. We had a protest that made it to CNN News back in the day. That's how it's so funny because that's how Peter Campbell, who lives in Cayman, I wasn't even back in Cayman yet. That's how Peter actually, for the first time, saw me. And he's like, damn, this girl is from Cayman? He's like, that's where I met you. Bruce Blake, remember, Sandy, that's where I met you. Because they came to me, the Caribbean Student Association, and said, we're having a sit-in, we're having a protest, join us, join forces. So yes, one person can make a difference. It's not going to be easy, but stand up for yourself, because when you stand up for yourself, you are standing up for the next person next to you who has an even more difficult time than you, who feels like they can't stand up. You're standing up for humanity. So just do the right thing. Denny?
Thank you for standing up, because look at where you've positioned yourself and how you could help so many other people. That's what it means when you have the courage to stand up. Thank you.
Thanks, Denny. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't feel like you have a choice and you have to do it. So thank you so much, Kyle. Be like Kyle. Don't be a Kevin and don't be a Karen. Be like Kyle. All right? One Caymanian this morning that we can say that we're definitely proud of. And the truth of the matter is we have a lot of Caymanians that we should be proud of, a lot of young people that are doing amazing things. And so I want to publicly thank all of you, because I know that it is difficult to be out in these streets, being a Caymanian, it's not an easy situation for sure. And so I want to applaud all Caymanians who get up every single day. They go to work, they support their families, they do the honest thing, they do the right thing. And I want to now talk about people like Fred, because he's also a Caymanian. And he represents the worst of who we are. Now, somebody said, Sandy, he's not representing me. I'm not claiming him. But he's a Caymanian, huh? So we have to claim the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. Fred, I don't believe that you're going to change. I mean, unfortunately, I don't have no hope because given your long and extensive history of doing all the crookedness that you do, you got a problem, bro. And you need professional help. But I doubt that the age of 60 that's going to happen. We're going to pray for you and hope you can get it together. But in the meantime, we have to ensure that the system works as intended. This now is the bottom line. Yes? If the system does not work, it allows people like Fred. Don't be a Fred, because it allows people like Fred to thrive, to flourish, to continue to be the number one asshole that he is. And it's not right. We are our brother's keeper, and we have to protect each other. Okay? When you see wrongdoing, even when it does not directly impact you, you speak up. Thank you, Kyle. Okay? In the workplace, in the community, speak up. Because wrong is wrong. And what is the saying goes, when I wasn't a Jew, so I didn't speak up? Yeah? I'm going to remind you guys of what happens when we sit back and we do nothing. This, as a community, as small as Cayman is, this has got to be our mantra, if you will. Because they're coming, they've come for us already. They're coming for us. So don't sit back and feel complacent that, oh, well, this not me working on a construction site. I got a nice job up in the bank. I got a nice job in a cushy office, because guess what? One day they're coming for you too. Okay? So, first they came for the communists. And I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. Folks, together, we are a force to be reckoned with. So let us support the Kyles of the world who question, who agitate, who speak up. Yeah? You guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you back tomorrow for another edition of The Cold Hard Truth.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.